Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to explain to you why Delta Green should not exist. Alright, so this is a continuation of an earlier video, but it should be fairly understandable. Yeah, I won't repeat what I said in that first video, but this is fairly standalone. If you want a fuller sweep, you can go back and listen to my first Delta Green video. Here we go. Okay, so why should Delta Green not exist? Well, Quentin Smith, he praised this game, and he perfectly explained why it should not exist. So he said, here's what I love about Delta Green. Right now, first of all, Delta Green is a modern version of Call of Cthulhu, okay? And he said, first off, no making cool characters. It's just bog standard mundane people. If you want to have like gun skills and you want to have cool brawling skills or karate or martial arts or a silencer on your weapon, none of that is going to be in this game. You just play people who file stuff. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, I'm like, that doesn't sound good. And he goes, it gets even more interesting. So the thing is, you work for this secret organization and you have to put down these Cthulhu type monsters, these cosmic horrors that are going to end the world, and you work for this evil corporation and or this evil government, and they're using you, and maybe you'll get out alive and maybe you won't, or maybe you'll die, or maybe you'll go insane, blah blah blah, same Cthulhu stuff as before. But then he gave two more, and he said it very clearly. He's like, is this they're calling you together from different states, and they're forming a task force, and they're going to send that task force out of this Cthulhu-esque cosmic ending monster, and they're going to send you after it. Is this an end of the world situation? You don't need to know. You as the player don't need to know that. You don't need to know that, right? Are you the first team to be sent after this monster? You don't need to know that. You don't need to know, right? And I was like, I know what this is. I know what this is. I know what this is. This is a dirt farmer game. We have been making these for so long, and Delta Green is king dirt farmer game, right? And I was like, I realize what's happening here. Quentin Smith is this super brilliant guy who is highly interested in this game. Why? Because he is the prototypical game master control freak. And we have this major problem today. We don't realize the power of, there's two things we don't realize. We don't realize why people pull up to the Dungeons & Dragons table. Oh, wait, Scott, Delta Green isn't Dungeons & Dragons. It's a Dungeons & Dragons competitor. And we need to start realizing there's nothing that isn't Dungeons & Dragons. You are Dungeons & Dragons, or you're a Dungeons & Dragons competitor. The OSR and the indie have not done enough for them to claim their own space. They live at Dungeons & Dragons' mercy. They have done nothing to clear the part of their table, right? Like, they just haven't done anything, all right? So, all right. So, and so basically, he's one of these game master control freaks where he's like, okay, listen, I get it. You've given me, I'm the game master of this Cthulhu game. You've given me complete control of of every single entity in this world, every character, every deity. I have control of the weather. I have control of everything, right? But wait a second, that guy across from me, he had some cool stuff. No, it's not enough for me to be a god. You gotta suck. I hate this. It's so bad, right? And it exists because we don't understand two things in the tabletop role-playing game space. And I'll explain what they are. But this is such an abominable issue, right? He's like, remember, don't you dare make an interesting, cool combat character. Your guy better just be good at putting paper clips on. Maybe he could staple, right? And, I'd like to know why I'm doing this adventure, and I'd like to know what the stakes are. You don't get any of that, or you get nothing. I'm the god here. You're just the jar of clay that I get to smash, right? It is absolute out of control game master, dungeon master, control freak syndrome. It's not enough for you to have everything. It's that everybody else has to suck too. And these are the worst dungeon masters and game masters. And the problem is they often come from being the smartest person on the block, because they think, oh, well, no, you need to be an auteur. And if you don't like this, it's just because you're not an auteur like me. No, it's game master control freak nonsense, right? With an auteur wrapper to protect the game master from realizing you suck as a person, right? Like, this is out of control, okay? Now, why is this happening? Well, it's a couple of things. We don't know why people are pulling up to the Dungeons & Dragons table. That is a major problem. People think, oh, well, they come to have fun. No, we've reached a point where that is utterly ridiculous, right? Go over to Family Tabletop. He just said it this week. He's not running Dungeons & Dragons to have fun. He's running Dungeons & Dragons to build a bridge to his son, okay? The other thing is, have you been at this table? There's some guy there, and he is only there to be next to his girlfriend. He doesn't care anything about it. I think half of us have seen that, right? There's so many reasons why people come to the Dungeons & Dragons table, and we all assume it's for fun, right? But it's not. That is absolutely incorrect. And get this, and you're like, well, I don't know, Scott. I know I'm right about this because, and one of the reasons why is, there's a guy who won I think this is fascinating. There's a guy who won the Nobel Prize in economics, and people are like, well, people make rational decisions about money. He won the Nobel Peace Prize to say no. People do not make rational thought about their money. They make extremely emotional decisions about their money, extremely irrational decisions. And the reason we won the Nobel Peace Prize is like half of economics was set up under this idea that people make rational decisions when it wasn't true. And we're in the same boat. We don't know why people sit down to the Dungeons & Dragons table. And we're assuming, and that is a problem. Here's the next one. Dungeon masters, they are often the reason people are sitting at the table, right? So these super smart guys can get people that they can subject their game onto. They can subject people to their game, right? And Delta Green, this is my entire point. No one has ever had fun playing Delta Green, right? What they did was they have a friend like Quentin Smith, right? Like Quentin Smith goes to a convention and there's 300. I met him in person at PAX Penny Arcade Expo Unplugged in Philadelphia about 4 years ago, okay? He came, there were 300 people waiting for him to teach them a game. He's super smart. He's super charismatic. He's a horrible game master control freak. It's not enough for him to control the table. You have to suck as well, right? And it's not just him. There's thousands of these guys, right? And basically, he and Delta Green is crafted so that you're like, yes, you deserve to be more than a god, right? Yes, you need to be a god, but everyone who is bowing down to you, they have to wear sackcloth, right? And that's the issue. No player has ever had fun playing Delta Green. Nobody wants to play a player character who's good at stapling, right? And has no combat options and sucks generally. And then they certainly don't want to go on a mission that they don't know why they're going and they don't know if they're doomed to die or go insane. That is not fun for anyone. So, Scott, if that's not fun for anyone, how does this persist? Because dungeon masters are out of control. They are all charismatic, confident, and intelligent, right? And they can subject people to the things at their table. And that's what's happening. This is a classic dirt farmer game, right? It's a game designed to take any ability for player characters to be cool away from them, right? And also, I'm very aware of this too, because recently one of my friends told me about literally Delta Green that he had run, and like I was like, okay, tell me the story, because I was genuinely interested, right? And he's like, so they were all captured by aliens and just taken prisoner in a barn, and then aliens were shoved down their throats. Alien cephalopods were down their throats, and they're all at the bottom of a barn, and maybe we'll continue the campaign at some time. I'm like, that sounds pretty terrible. And he's like, well, it could have been good. It could have, they could have found out the adventure, parts, and it could have worked out, but they just didn't make the rolls. And he was comfortable with this. He was comfortable, subjecting his players to weeks and weeks and hours of an absolute suckfest, right? And this is the part. We need to we need to realize fun is not the only, it's not even the majority of the reason that people come to the Dungeons & Dragons table, right? And we need to start that have a conversation and start to realize things like auxiliary interest. And then we also have to realize that charismatic, confident, intelligent people, they can do things that people don't want them to do. They can subject people to things. And we need to start controlling this. And this is my attempt to control it. If you're one of these people and you're running Cthulhu, stop, right? Just go play, realize you're subjecting people to this. And they're there because they like you, because you're charismatic, confident, intelligent. They don't like that game, right? And what's wrong with them liking you and liking the game? No one likes Call of Cthulhu. No players like Call of Cthulhu. They like sitting down at the table with incredibly charismatic, confident, intelligent people, right? And there are other reasons that I think Cthulhu, that people are able to get away with Cthulhu, right? And that's the point. You're getting away with it, right? Like, it's almost like Catholicism, right? I'm an evangelical Christian, and everybody's talking about Catholicism now because y'all's got a new pope. We don't got a pope. We don't got a pope in Protestants, so nobody ever talks about Protestants, right? So, well, I guess we do. Interesting. Maybe that dude is the second American Pope, because I think Donald Trump might be the new Protestant American Pope. That's kind of interesting. My point is, right, you can be a Christian as a Catholic, but it's despite being a Catholic, right? Like, basically, Catholics worship Mary and the Pope. They don't worship Jesus, and they're not actually Christians, right? But every now and then, you get one of those Catholics who actually reads the Bible and is like, oh, wait a second, all I need is Jesus. I don't need any of these rituals or anything. And then they still remain a Catholic, which Jesus forgives them for. So that's my entire point is people get away with Call of Cthulhu, and especially Delta Green. Delta Green should have never been created. And the reason why is it's just for D&D. It's literally, its entire purpose is to give dungeon masters, game masters, more control than they already had, which is absolutely not needed and actively should be stopped, in my humble opinion. Now, I think that all Delta Green games, Delta Green copies, should absolutely remain. Nobody should get rid of their books, right? But the reality is, I do think they should be shelved. They should just go right up on the shelf, and then you could be like, remember when we played Delta Green? Let's never do that again. I really believe no players should be subjected to Delta Green anymore. It's cruel. I truly believe it's cruel. It's just a classic dirt farmer game where you're like, oh, you get to play a dirt farmer. Well, what's my abilities? None. You have a hoe and you're probably going to die in first level. But that's exciting for me as a dungeon master, because I just really want to grind you over glass. It's not enough for me to have all the control in the world. You need to really suck. That's just the hot sauce on the taco for me. This has got to stop, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.